Wyrmspan is a game for 1 to 5 players, and it takes about 90 minutes to play. And yes, it does sound a lot like Wingspan, so you're going to see some crossover, but this is a fully standalone game that has some fantastic mechanics and features that Wingspan doesn't have. So what I'm going to focus on in this video are the 3 things that I really like about Wyrmspan that just capture me and bring me back again and again. This video was brought to you by Noble Knight Games. More about them at the end of the video.
3 things I like about
Wyrmspan.
3 things I like about
Wyrmspan.
3 things I like about
Wyrmspan.
3 things I like about
Wyrmspan. So in this game, 4 rounds to be exact, players are going to be taking 1 turn at a time, and then turns will pass and players will be taking actions. You can entice, you can explore, and you can also excavate. And those actions are just listed on players' player mats, which I just really appreciate. Things are so clear and the iconography is fantastic here. So when it's a player's turn, they're going to pay a coin and possibly other resources depending on the need and the amount of times you've done that particular action. And then you will just take the action, play is going to pass, and when you are out of coins, you essentially can't take any more turns. So for you, the round is over. After 4 of those rounds, you're going to score up all your points and the person with the most points is going to win. Now let's get into some of the really cool details. The first thing that I really like is the player board. And you've got this player mat that tells you everything you need to know. Again, great iconography. And you also have spaces for not just dragons to entice them, but you also have to essentially build up this cave system. But building caves is a good thing. It's a step that you have to do before placing down a dragon, but it gives you great stuff. Now, building caves into one particular location further and further is going to start costing you. But again, it's worth the cost because there's going to be some great end bonuses towards the end of that line. But once you have a cave, you place a dragon down, and then there's going to possibly be an immediate bonus action. And that's another cool thing. There are 4 different symbols that might show up on cards, and they're just so clear and so easy to understand, one of which is the figure of a little walker. And what that means is when you want to go and explore one of your 3 locations, Crimson Cavern, Golden Grotto, or Amethyst Abyss, you're going to start your explorer on the furthest leftmost space where you see a little walking image. And in between your dragons, in addition to your cards that have that explorer walker symbol, you're going to be getting stuff. And each of the 3 locations is going to really focus on one kind of resource, like cards, or like resources, or cave cards. So it's just really cool. Because you don't just get what you put down as your card for your dragon, you're also going to get stuff in between. And if your walker ever walks to a space to the right and reaches a red no-go symbol with the white horizontal line in it, they stop. And then they have to essentially go back to base camp and that explore action is done for you. But this is a way for you to just get stuff and to customize what you want to receive when you do the get stuff, which is the explore action. It's really clever. And again, it's all about those in-between cards. I think that's just the coolest. I really, really like that. In addition to gaining the walking explore bonus on the cards that you have. Now, let's say your cards have an end of round bonus or an immediate bonus or a scoring at the end of the game bonus. You don't get those during the explore walking action. You just get the walking action bonuses. It does generally behoove someone to kind of max out on one of those locations during the game so that when you do the explore action, you can really gain all the things along the way and you can get that bonus when you place the cave down in the last space to the right. And when you walk, then you're going to get that bonus at the very, very end. So it's a cool way to strategize one of those caves to, again, kind of maximize and get the full bonus. Another thing I'd like to say about the player mat is that the game is perfectly balanced in scope and in length. So the game lasts just long enough for you to again, kind of maximize one of the locations and get pretty close in the others. It doesn't overstay its welcome. If it went one more round, it would be too long and there wouldn't be enough stuff to do and you would have too many resources. And so I feel like the arc of the game is just really, really well balanced in. You start off and you really need resources, you really need cards, you're really trying to build out your cave systems, and then it slowly builds until that fourth round, again, perfectly timed. It's just the right amount of length. So 90 minutes is the amount of time it plays, but I think that the arc and the length of the game matches, I mean, again, time, but also just the feel of the game. It peaks and it stops. It doesn't overstay its welcome, and it doesn't kind of prevent you from really developing something really cool. So again, perfectly timed with the length and with the breadth of the game. Now, the second thing that I really like about Wyrmspan is the objective track, and it essentially is the round track board. It keeps track of what round you're in and what your current objective is. And there are 10 double-sided objective tiles that you can mix and match in any combination, and you are only selecting one side of 4 tiles. So that's where this kind of replayability comes in, and that's where this dynamic focus or goal takes place, where players are essentially vying for the same objective in those particular rounds. And not only that, you can see what's coming up. So in round 1, it's going to be something like whoever has the most aggressive dragons that they have enticed to their player board will receive first place, second, third, and then all others. And so there kind of is this all others category where you really are vying for the top 3 positions in any player game. So you have to get something of your objective to score. If you have none of the requirements, you go to the all others automatically. But there are friendly ties, and I love that. I love the friendly ties. So if 2 players have the most of that thing, the most aggressive dragons, they are going to score in first place together. Then the next person, who's technically third, is actually going to be ranked second. So it has friendly ties, and there are all kinds of things like the most nest symbols on your dragon cards. It's going to be other really cool features that all match up with the symbols in the game. So you are building to get these, but you can also look ahead to see, oh, in round 2, I should really be going for this particular goal. Round 3, it's going to be something else entirely. And round 4 is where I've been building and building and building, and the points do grow. So in the early rounds, your victory points are all the same difference apart from first, second, third, but it gets more and more and more. And then lastly, that final round is going to have the most amount of victory points because you've had the most amount of time to plan for it. End of round activation that you have on your dragons. And that's when everybody's going to activate those kind of tick-tock clocks. They're like a little stopwatch symbol. You look at all your dragons, and in any order, you can just say, I'm going to activate this one, that one, and that one. And so it might actually get you something that you need to help with that scoring. But again, 10 of those double-sided objective tiles that you get to place out, it's really smart. And again, it gives everyone that competition, a little bit of player interaction with vying for dragons that you're drafting from the dragon space. And so forth. Really, really cool feature. I really like the round board and how those global objectives work. And the third thing that I like about Wyrmspan is the Dragon Guild board. There are 4 Dragon Guild boards that you pick one of for each game, and essentially that will change up what your special bonuses and opportunities are that either happen in-game or at the end of the game for scoring victory points. So you put one of those boards in, and again, there are 4, so it's not the same every single game. But what is the same is kind of the track on the base board itself of the Dragon Guild. And when players activate a Dragon Guild symbol, they will move their marker 1 space clockwise to the next open space, which everyone can be on the same space at the same time. You just go to the next space. And you get the thing that's there. So it might be an amethyst or crystal. It might be an egg. It might be another movement on the Dragon Guild board. So you get these little bonuses along the way, but you're really working your way around to the 6 o'clock on the board and the 12 o'clock, which is the tippy top and the tippy bottom and the very bottom. And when you get to those brown spaces, the brown box with like the space inside of it, you will take one of your markers and you will take one of those bonuses in the card that you put in at the beginning of the game, and that's the interchangeable card. And you can get in-game bonuses that give you the resource boost that you need, that gives you an extra coin, which means you can then take another turn that round, or you can save it for next round because resources and coins and eggs and everything and cards that you have will carry over from round to round. But it gives you that boost you need right then, or you're essentially planning to just bank up on victory points at the end of the game by taking one of those victory point spots. It's super, super cool. And you really have to keep track of what your opponents are doing because they're going to go down. Maybe they get to the space first where they get to put their marker out. There are limited spaces. When you put your marker in a space and there's only one or two, you take up that space and then nobody else can go in that spot if there are no open spaces left. So you're really vying for the thing that you need, but you're also looking at what can I take that might block someone else perhaps, or nab something up before someone else can get there. So there is a planning and a bit of a race for the Dragon Guild, and it's fun and it's nice, and it adds just another perfect layer to how to gain more resources and more opportunities in the game that aren't just on your dragon cards and that aren't just on your board itself. It's cool. It's cool. And the timing of everything is so precise. Immediate bonuses, explore bonuses when you walk and do the explore action, end of round bonuses, and then end of game bonuses. So you have to keep all of it straight, but that's how this works, and it's just the coolest. I mean, it's just lovely. I feel like when you take your turn, it's short. You say, well, I'm going here, I'm putting my coin down, and I'm going to excavate, which means that I'm going to play down a cave into this area. It doesn't cost any extra eggs or any extra resources because I'm in those early stages. And then I'm going to get what's on my cave card, done. And then the play's going to pass. So turns are really fast. And while everybody else is going, you're essentially thinking, well, next I need to do this, and then I've got to do that, and then I've got to do that. So you're planning your turn while other players are going, because when they go, rarely do they interact with you. But here's the cool thing. When they do interact with you, it's positive. There are no take them away. There are no gotchas. There's no, take that. There's actually take that in a good way. Like, please take this lovely thing I just gave you. Because the only thing that players can do to other players is give them things. So cards may say you get something really, really good, but guess what? Everybody else in the game gets a half good as your good thing. And then you tell everybody else, well, I took 2 of this and 1 of that, so everybody else at the table, you take 1 resource of your choice because your card says so. Because when you play down your cave card, it says everybody else is going to get this thing. So if you want to get something really good, everybody else at the table is going to get a little good. And I like that. I mean, that is just the best system, and it kind of rubs people the wrong way sometimes because we don't want to help our opponents. But for me, I see the difference is there. If I get 1 thing and you get none things, then that's the difference of 1. And if I get 2 things or 3 and you get 1, there's the difference of 1, but everybody else is like, yay, I got an egg, I got a meat, and it's kind of exciting. And yes, it does help them when it's not their turn, but for me, I love that positive interaction. I think it's just kind of cool. So that's my 0.5. I didn't realize that I was going to make that such a big point in this video, but really, it's worth mentioning. The positive interaction here with players is simply when I get good, really good, you get little good. And I appreciate that so much. What it does is it makes me want to come back. It makes me want to play this game again. It makes me want to share it because, again, that interaction is working. It's positive, and it's really helpful. So, yeah. Three things I like, 3.5 things I like about Wyrmspan, because boy, is that a really cool feature. So that is going to be it for this video. I hope you can get your hands on it because it's lovely. The components are just delightful. The speckled eggs are beautiful. I love the little bits. There are 4 basic resources: milk, meat, crystals, and gold. It's cute. It's nice and colorful. The dragons are dynamite. I mean, just the same way. Wyrmspan with those birds. All you want to do all day is just look at these things. And if you want, there is a 32-page dragon booklet that's not the rule book. It's not the solo book. It's just a giant booklet that tells you what all the dragons are. And it gives you all the lore. and it describes them, and it talks about like all the things that make this dragon special and unique, and it's kind of fun. So if you really want to get into dragons, or you know someone who likes that, this has a booklet in there that has all the cool stuff. So the cards are just beautiful, well made. I love the artwork. And the game itself is just, again, quality. You feel it when you pick up everything. Nice thick cardboard. Great design. So another wonderful game out from Stonemaier Games. And from Connie Vogelman, who designed Apiary, my favorite game of last year, and also with help from Elizabeth Hargrave, who of course is the designer for Wyrmspan. So great team, great duo team up there. I mean, lovely stuff. So again, that's it for me. Hope you get your hands on it, and I will catch you later, folks. Bye. Noble Knight Games is your portal to all things gaming. Visit them online at nobleknight.com, or if you're near downtown Madison, Wisconsin, you can enter their fortress, which features 5,500 square feet of roomy retail and gaming space. Noble Knight Games hosts daily game groups and events and a free-to-play board game library. Their storefront offers access to thousands of tabletop gaming products, from the newest games and hobby supplies to rare, collectible, and vintage titles from all over the world.
3 things I like about
Wyrmspan.
3 things I like about
Wyrmspan.
3 things, 3 things, 3 things.
Wyrmspan.